Welcome to Tell Me Your Story. I'm Richard Dugan, your host, and as always, it is a pleasure to come your way to share this time, today especially, with our special co-host, I want to say, Lumari of Lumari.com. Lumari, it's a beautiful day. It is 1 week away from Christmas, 2 weeks away from a brand new year, and I'm going to tease the folks by saying we have two special programs coming up next week and the week after that you are not going to want to miss. And I'm going to leave it at that and welcome you to our Wednesday program.
Oh, thank you, Richard. It's such a blast to be here. It just brings so much joy, and then you and I share this joy into the universe. I love it. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, me too. I find what's fascinating to me most of the time when I'm doing these programs, interviewing people, asking questions, I feel much younger, like a kid, just curious, right? But when you and I get together, I start to feel, without going into personality and ego, I start to feel like, and I'm like I know what I'm talking about. And again, I say that humbly because I have a lot to learn. So do you. We all do. And I never want to get so wrapped up in, look what I know. Look what I can do. I mean, as a little kid, I would do, hey, look over here. Watch me do this. Watch me. I want to make sure that when I share, what we talk about here on this program, I hope that comes across that, this is where I'm at today, and I'm still learning. And tomorrow, this might change a little bit or a lot. Even in one of my interviews a few years back, I shared a perspective. My guest countered with his perspective. And I thought about that for about 5 seconds, and I said, you know what? I'm willing to burn down all of my straw huts, and start over if that's what it means. Especially with that one saying I've quoted many times, and that is, it is better to begin in doubt and end in certainty than to begin in certainty and end in doubt. And that is where we're going to start, because we're going to talk about words. And a phrase I have used over and over again is, words have power. We choose the words we choose for a reason, for an intent, even if we're not conscious of that intent, which is not a good thing, because if you're not conscious of your intent, then all kinds of words come out that you may not have meant, especially, let's say, just in the heat of anger or something like that, and you say something that, as the phrase goes, you can't take back. Well, that's something we want to talk about today, is how powerful words are, and the words that we choose to use in our day-to-day conversations, in this program, even in the words that we write in our books.
Yes. Well, words are so important. So, obviously, to many of us, words are how we communicate. So, whether it is speaking and having conversations, whether it's training people, whether it's writing your books, whether it's lyrics and songs, wherever it is, we communicate with words. And those words have a multi-dimensional effect that most people don't recognize. So I'll start with part A.
Mm-hmm.
So part A is like the general aspect of communication. So most people will know, if I say take a left, most people know what left is, right? And and I said right, so that's confusing.
Correct.
Exactly, thank you. But how we communicate with people and what we say has a huge influence, and most people don't realize it because it's like comes from their brain, out of their mouth, and they're not even paying attention to what they said or what influence it has, and they're not also recognizing the communication that's going on. Words have so much power. Luckily, we are, for the most part, those of us who are playing here, we are evolving in our communication.
Mm-hmm.
So words that people used 100 years ago, a lot of those words, we won't use those words. Those are not good words. We won't use them. We have evolved into another level of communication in describing people, in speaking, what moves us. And that's part one. But part two is in the communication, we can actually create a relationship with our words. And I'm not saying, say I love you and you have a relationship. That's not it. It's like the integrity of what you say and how you say it to someone reveals so much about yourself, and it also reveals so much about what you're trying to share. In some conversations, we know some conversations are fun, and some conversations are enlightening, and some conversations are critical. Coming from an art background, I was trained not to get offended when a teacher told me that he hated the color blue I was using, that it didn't reflect the energy of this, and this, and he would say, now, instead of cobalt, try cerulean blue, and see what that looks like. It wasn't like bad-mouthing me or dissing me. It was actually a criticism that was like, oh, you see this differently, which is different than bad-mouthing people. And we're in a space of conversation now in our world with the higher vibrations moving, that we can be in a place where we're having conversations that might sound normal, but they're actually uplifting. That we're creating relationship with somebody by listening to them and not trying to correct them unless we have permission to do that. Like certain relationships, we automatically have permission. Other relationships, no, we don't. But to be able to be in that space, and that's just our everyday communication. When I look at words in my books, that is, and in my coaching with clients and workshops that I create, that's a whole other thing, because now I'm consciously bringing frequencies so that as you read, if you're open, transformation and illumination happens. And that's a whole other level of the power of words.
Wow. Intent, whether we're conscious or not conscious of when we use words. And a couple of examples that I can share. One in particular, this goes back many years when I was living in Arizona, and there was a gubernatorial campaign underway. And two candidates of the same party in the primaries were duking it out, verbally, sparring and so forth. And one of them decided that they were going to dredge up some old stuff on the opponent. Now, the information that was dredged up had to do with a court case, and that had been finalized. It was done. It was over. It was history. But this person decided to bring it up in the campaign. And this person actually did win that party's nomination, if you will, to go into the general election. And I used to, when I watched this happening, I would tell people, I said, what is this guy doing? I mean, and even then, I understood about the power of words.
Right.
And I would go off on my little tangent about how powerful words are and the intent and et cetera, et cetera. And then I would get the comeback from people saying, oh, Richard, you are so naive. It's just politics. And I said, no, it's not just politics. There's not.
Ew.
I'm sorry?
Ew. No, I'm going, ew.
Yeah.
Just politics.
Yeah. But it's
lies
not.
and manipulation and meanness.
Yeah.
That's just politics.
Well,
Why
it
would
isn't.
you want politics to be like that? Why would you accept it?
Right. But it isn't just that. It's,
Yeah, of course not.
It's that this individual who chose to bring this up had an intent.
Mm-hmm.
The intent was to defeat this person and go on to win the office. I'm going to throw a little twist in here, sidebar, so to speak. Once this person got into office, and I can't remember how long they were in office until this happened, you want to talk about a karmic return? He was the first governor of the state of Arizona to be impeached.
Whoa.
Now you tell me how powerful words are. That's how powerful they are, and they will come back to bite you.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, of course, his supporters, oh, this is a witch hunt. This is a that. It's a, hey, it doesn't matter why we don't like this person. We don't want him here. He's out. He's done. And I just had to marvel at the universe in its infinite wisdom, shall we say. Now, I have no ill will towards this person. He wants to run for governor. He wants to say what he wants to say. But it was an incredible lesson for me, especially, in being responsible for the words. the line from this movie: "The words that are coming out of my mouth."
I love it because we're in the middle. Your example, we are so in the middle of that.
Yes.
Right. I mean, we are so in the middle of that, and there's a whole bunch of it going on, not just in our country, but around the world. But since we are here, and we are looking at that, we're in the middle of it. We're in the middle of manipulation with words. We're in the middle of deceit with words. We're in the middle of creating fear with words. Now, that's not where we really want to play. We don't want that. We want to be illuminated with words. We want to be inspired in a good way, not triggered to act, but inspired to act, to be able to create community out of connection. And we can do that with words too. It requires, we're talking about being conscious and having intent, but we also have to be in the space of positivity in it, so that the outcome isn't self-serving. The outcome is creating a space. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. And the outcome that we are wanting, and this actually came to mind just the other day as I was recording my book, Choices. Do I have to be pure of heart? Is that really important? Well, I don't know that I'd want to use that word, but we do have to be responsible. And also, we also have to know, in one sense, why we are saying what we're saying. That's part of the responsibility thing. But the other aspect of it is that sometimes you can say the very same words in several different tones, different inflection, that will have a different meaning.
It's funny, isn't it?
It is.
That you could do that?
Yeah. It really is.
I'm going to do it to you because you mentioned it, right?
Go ahead.
Just for fun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Oh, you are amazing. Oh, yeah, you're amazing. Just for fun, because you know how I feel about you, so you're not going to be offended by my example.
Not at all. Not at all. Go ahead.
but it's so the vibration and the energy of it, and you're talking about like our intent and everything. And the other part of it that will help people, because on the one hand, we really do need to be aware of what we're saying. And a lot of times, the easiest thing to do is if you're in the middle of it and you feel the energy circling and flowing and a little bit too fast and maybe not getting the response you want, stop talking. And go, oh, wait a minute. And just let it settle so that you can pick words to say. Because a lot of times, I mean, we're in a place right now that people have different words for different things, and they may or may not go over well. But the other thing is that if we stand in a place where we want to create a beautiful, uplifting, sacred universe for everyone on our planet at all times. And then you speak from there. You can stop yourself and say, "Oh, I'm going off. Wait a minute." And then you can ask the person what they think about what you said. And with your book choices, I mean, you're really also talking about what are you choosing to say? How are you choosing to communicate it? Because we know you're also choosing the actions as well. But how are you choosing that? So we're watching dynamics where people are choosing to bully people, to manipulate people, to push people into certain reactions because they want those reactions for themselves. Now, when we're looking at it, we go, okay, I want a global harmony where all the different ways that we think can come together without harm. That's a whole other conversation. Even if some of the words that we use are actually the same, the energy of it is completely different.
Yeah. We're talking here today about how words have power. Lumari is my co-host here on this program. We've been doing this for this year. This is our 12th month. We're going to continue this into 2025 as well. We do have a couple of special programs coming up in the coming next 2 weeks, and we hope that you will join us for those special programs. I have a special program coming up next week, Christmas Day morning, in the 8 o'clock hour, and I'm going to share with you a story that I was introduced to, my goodness, 34 years ago, that really touched me when I heard it. And it is actually a Christmas story that takes place in July. And you're going to want to tune in. It's a very touching story. I hope that you will tune in for that. We're going to continue talking here about words having power because it's important that we recognize that. I mean, you've already made reference to the fact that we're dealing with either a lack of or concern for responsibility for what is said, or there is some intent there in what is being said, and at least for the moment, it is achieving the desired result. And at least on the national level.
Right.
I don't hear that anymore because I've turned all of that off. I don't need or want to hear it. So now I'm taking responsibility for words having power. There are words I don't want to hear. I've shared this story before with a conversation I had with my mother. And this was several months ago. And I was sharing with her what was going on in my life and in the life of myself and Amrita. And she stopped me. She says, no, stop. I don't want to hear it. If you want to call and ask me for some advice, some counsel, information, what have you, you feel free to call. But I don't want to hear the story. And my first, of course, my first mother-son reaction was, Mom, and I didn't say that to her. It was in my head.
Right.
And as soon as I got off the phone with her, I'm going, she was absolutely right. She does not have to take into her being words that she doesn't want to hear. And I would venture...
Wise woman.
Oh, very much so.
This is a wise woman.
And I would venture she doesn't watch the news. She doesn't listen to the... Matter of fact, I was talking with her, or I should say, she and my father, almost 10 years ago when I interviewed them on this program. They don't listen to the news when they're driving. They're listening to music, whether it's music from a radio station or a CD that they have in the player or Sirius Radio if she subscribes or whatever, because they don't want to hear that stuff.
Oh, definitely. Well, and the thing is that if you have to listen to those things, meaning you have to be aware because of what you do in the world, right? Then you can go into that space and say, all right, take a nice deep breath. I'm going to listen because it's important for me to know what's happening.
Sure.
And I am not experiencing or receiving or downloading or being influenced by any of the information that's coming my way. I'm here to listen.
Right. And that's an important point to make because we're all connected. We're all here together. We're here to help and be helped, to love and be loved, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes.
And we need to let others know, again, with that condition, if you will, that we hear them, that we see them,
Yeah.
that we acknowledge them, and that we hear them. But we don't have to take on their stuff. And when
Thank you.
my wife is an empath, and she has struggled for years, as long as I've known her, with inadvertently taking in the energy from others. I think I've shared the example of when we were watching a movie one Sunday afternoon, and she was just feeling awful, and she didn't know why.
Yep.
And when we finished watching the movie, we went to the live television, and there was breaking news. And as soon as she saw that, her awful feeling went away. And she then realized, that's the reason I was feeling so bad. Well, the other part of this is, and I've asked many of my guests about this, how does she protect herself from being inundated by these energies?
Oh, well, see, what a wonderful segue to talk about my meditation.
Yes, please do.
Space.
Go for it.
Okay? Because that is the reason I created this meditation. So many people, including empaths, including people who are sensitive, including people who are curious, they receive energy that they don't even know about. And I might have told you this story before, which led me to understand why I was empathic in absorbing things. I was in the grocery store with my darling husband, Peter, and I'm standing behind this woman, and all of a sudden I'm crying. No, I don't even know why I'm crying. I'm just crying, and he's looking at me like, okay, what's wrong? What can I do to help? And then all of a sudden I went, oh, my God, her mother died. Oh, my God. And okay, I was feeling all of the energy there.
Yeah.
I was feeling the pain. Another time, Peter and I are driving down in Boston, which is like traffic and exciting. I love Boston. And we're having this wonderful conversation, and we're happy. And then all of a sudden, I am angry. And I'm saying things to him that I would never say normally. And he looks and goes, okay, what's going on? Because you just made a flip. I don't even know what's happening.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, whoa, we just drove by a funeral home. They were having, the funeral service. I mean, we're driving, so it's not like I'm there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I picked up how angry everybody was at the man who died. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of them were mad at him, but a lot of them were mad that he died.
Right.
And here I am absorbing that, and I'm like, I got to do something about this because this is crazy. And that's how I came up with the personal sacred space meditation, so you could actually see what's happening, release the energy, move back into a more sacred personal space.
Yeah.
So that it's not like you're blocking it because you don't want to be oblivious, but you don't want to have it in your being. And I'm really glad you mentioned this because it's so important. And when we talk about what's happening in the news, and we talk about with people's upset, we talk about like the challenges and everything else, when you're caring, which we want everybody to be caring, loving, nurturing, compassionate, connected. We want that. That doesn't mean you have to absorb it all.
Yeah.
And that's the difference.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's the difference. And when we're talking about, that words matter, then you can start to distinguish, okay, I am compassionate, but I don't have to have everybody's energy on my shoulder because you know what? I'm going to need a forklift.
Exactly. Well, and one more part that I can add to what you've just shared,
Yes,
and that is
please.
this: that when we do that, get the forklift and carry other people's stuff, it continues. We give it life, and it grows and grows and grows
Yeah.
until it is too heavy to carry. Not just for the person who's feeling it, but for the person like yourself who's picking up on it. It doesn't go away. It's one of the reasons why I came to the realization that the last period in a day where I want to deal with any of my stuff, not what's coming in, but my stuff that causes me to emote, the last place in time in a day is night. Because at night, there are no boundaries. It's just darkness. All right?
Yeah.
All around. But in the daytime, there are boundaries. You can see them. You can feel them. And that's when you start working on whatever the stuff is. You have, in addition to the Sacred Space meditation that's available at lumari.com/sacred space, you also have a meditation you're going to share with us right now to help folks as we conclude this conversation before we go into another excerpt from my book, Choices, 5 Steps for Life.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much, Richard. And so we're talking about the power of words and the beauty of words. And so, and one of the things I want you to know, everybody, is you're not going to ignore what you're feeling. You're just going to shift into a more beautiful space. So right now, just take a nice breath and feel that you can create. And feel that the energy of words and the meaning of words and the power of words is part of your being and your communication. So take a nice deep breath, and first, beyond anything else, honor words, the power, the meaning, the energy, what it challenges you to think about, what it opens you to think about, and embrace the power of words. And now take another deep breath and think of the word and the energy and the flow of beauty. Beauty is a sacred word that opens your heart, opens the way you think, inspires you. Beauty can be anywhere and everywhere. So take a nice deep breath and embrace beauty.
That's the deep breath we need to take, folks. And we're going to do that in this next segment of the program here on Tell Me Your Story, where we're going to share with you another excerpt from my book, Choices, 5 Steps for Life. Lumari, I want to thank you and looking forward to the next 2 weeks of our program where we're going to have something very special as we not only wrap up the old year, 2024, and begin the new year. And we're actually going to be here on Christmas Day. Amazing stuff. That's what I love about technology. It allows us to be whenever we want. Even if we're also celebrating with family and friends, we're still here sharing with you. So thank you so much for being with us.
Oh, Richard, it is such an honor. Truly, truly, I am filled with joy and honor and appreciation for our connection and to be able to share this with the community. Thank you, my dear.
You are very welcome. And folks, stay tuned. Another excerpt from Choices, 5 Steps for Life by yours truly, available on Amazon.com. The Audible, obviously, because you're going to be hearing me share with you, is soon to be released on Amazon, along with the hardcover, paperback, as well as the Kindle version. So I hope you enjoy. And I will wrap my segment here up by saying this has been Tell Me Your Story, New Paradigms for a New World. And until our next broadcast, podcast, videocast, love Talal. Jeanette, I am still listening. Dad, continue to be happy because I am. Smokey, I will see you on the other side. And to my dear friend Zorro, aho, aho. And now, Choices, 5 Steps for Life. Step 2. Match your words to your choice. I can't. I shouldn't. I couldn't. I never. I haven't and never would be able to. It's not the way I do it. I'm too tall, short, fat, thin. Race, religion, sex, political affiliation, sexual orientation, economic level, hair color, and any other category you can come up with. The words you speak can and will affect the choices you make and whether they will come to pass. You tell the world where your mind and emotions are by the words you speak. And even if you don't believe it now, the more you speak from the choices you have made, the more you will begin to believe it, and the closer you will get to your choice becoming a reality. When you're using words that match your choice, the more those words become a part of you, and the more those words speak to you about what you have chosen. The language you use, the people you talk with, the subjects you discuss, are all integral in bringing about the choice you have made. If all you do is complain, moan, and groan about how you feel, even when you don't feel good, keeps you there. If you're constantly talking about the news of the day, the problems others are having, the negative way others see the world going, the more negative you will get and the farther away from your choice you will move. You can't change the world right now. You are in no position to fix the problems of others at this point. You need to focus your attention and energy on you and your choice. I had a most enlightening experience regarding the Creator's wanting to give good things to His children. Through the process of buying a house, I shared the details of the purchase with others who I knew had been through the same experience before. They would say, "You got a smoking deal." Because of my old programming, combined with the feelings of being blessed by the Creator, I asked what I had done to deserve this house and this smoking deal. The answer I received was nothing. So the next most logical question to me, based upon my performance programming of the past, was, then what do I have to do to keep the house? I figured there must be something I had to do not to lose the house. In other words, it's too good to be true, and if I don't behave, the Creator will take it back. And the answer I received absolutely blew me away. The Creator said, nothing. I want you to have it as a gift from me because you are my child, not for any other reason. From the very beginning, this house had taught me many lessons and continues to teach me. It teaches me about myself, my friend, and others with whom I live in this reality. When I saw the house for the first time, it wasn't, this is it. It wasn't a great house. The weeds were overgrown in the backyard. The house needed paint. The inside needed paint and a good cleaning. Yet, there was real potential in the 3-bedroom, 1 3/4 bath brick house with a newly shingled roof. There was room for expansion off into the back and to the side. There was room to grow. If we decided to buy it, I felt it would be the only house we would buy to our dying day. Our future was in that house. The day my first wife and I saw the house, we also had our regular counseling session. We had been going to counseling for a year. We talked about the house, checked on the price, what we might qualify for, and so forth. We finally decided to go forward. We knew very little about the game of real estate and went ahead knowing we didn't know the rules. We trusted the people closest to us, namely our realtor, Gary Nigel, to see that all was handled properly. I still asked lots of questions. There was one overriding goal that we kept in the forefront, especially when fear and frustration came. The ever-present goal was, we're buying a house. We're buying a house. As long as we continued reminding ourselves of that goal, we stayed focused. Staying focused is very important when it comes to meeting goals. If we were to get detoured by every little thing in the process, all our energy would be used up very quickly, and we'd lose momentum and possibly never reach our goal. Back in 1993, we were given an opportunity to buy our first house. It was located in what was the far west side of Phoenix, Arizona. It was a brick block house with 3 bedrooms and 1 full bath and a 3/4 bath with a shower only, a big backyard with trees and a covered porch and front yard, with 2-car covered driveway and a basketball pole without backboard and rim. We went to see the house on August 30th. It was perfect. We began the home buying process and became aware of the many speed bumps one faces when buying a house. Remember the phrase, buying a house? Before the real hard and fast events began, we sat and thought about how we could stay on track no matter what might crop up. And it came to me. We would focus on the goal, the end game. Why were we even putting ourselves through this? Because we wanted to buy and own our own home? So we began to repeat over and over again the only process we were interested in completing, which was buying a house. So whenever we came upon a seeming obstacle, like being asked for more information, more paperwork, or income information, we would remember why we were there and say aloud, buying a house, buying a house, buying a house. As we went through the month of September, we faced a lot more resistance than we had ever faced in other past situations. As we came to the end of September, our realtor broker informed us the closing date was September 30th. At every turn throughout the process, we were saying aloud and silently to ourselves over and over again, buying a house, 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 buying a house. Now, you might think that on September 30th, we were tense, nervous, uneasy, and even anxious. And when I received a call from Gary telling me there was no homeowner's insurance attached to the paperwork, I was surprised because I had worked with a local advertiser from the radio station I was working for at that time, and they had told me everything was all set. I called the insurance company to find out what had happened, and they had no explanation. I was upset, to say the least, but I reminded myself of the month-long mantra, buying a house. I called Gary and explained the situation, and he told me not to worry. He would have to attach a higher-priced homeowner's insurance policy that we could switch out after the first year. He said to be at the title office at 2 to sign the papers and close the deal. We showed up and signed all the papers and bought a house. Words are powerful. I didn't know how powerful then, but today I know that the words I speak, the words I hear, all have an effect on me and all the people around me. A great example of the power of words is the Hebrew language. Each of the 22 letters of the alphabet have a legend, number designation, tonal vibration, color, even story. When you put the letters together to create words, you get a new legend. Then put those words together into sentences, you get a whole new story. Those sentences into paragraphs, into chapters, into books. You get the idea. But when you try to translate Hebrew into another language, you lose all that. You lose the original context and syntax. So the words you speak in your primary language have great power. Keep that in mind when you speak, write, and when you surround yourself with others, especially those who don't support your beliefs, values, dreams, and choices you have made in your life. Which phrase do you use? That's pretty good, or that's not bad. Is your glass half full or half empty? The phrases you use say a great deal about your perspective on your life and all that you experience. If it's pretty good, that which you are referring to is something you like, would try again, etc. But bad implies that maybe next time it might be bad. And the difference between a glass half full versus half empty is, in my observation, an attitude of abundance versus lack. If it's half empty, there must be something missing from the glass, and there might not be enough to fill the glass. Half full says there is room for more, and there is more than enough to fill it, if you want to. It's pretty good to have a glass half full of whatever you want. Choose your words carefully because you are talking to someone who is directly affected by those words. You. I've wanted to write for years. How hard can it be, you might ask? Harder than you might think. Not only did I believe the can't-do messages about singing, reading, and the like, I took that message and covered my whole life with it. I can now say I can do whatever I want to until I can't anymore. And I know I can because I can. Not because someone gave me the go-ahead and told me you can, because I know I really, truly can. We think these expectations or evidence are real only because we've also been told that because these two people brought you into this world, they must know more about you than anyone else. And so they, and they alone, can see you for who you really are. And a myth is born along with you. The older the person, the wiser they must be, only because they are older. This myth is then expanded to include all others who are older, brothers, sisters, relatives, neighbors, teachers, the clergy, politicians, policemen and women, anyone who is older than you. And the other half of the myth is that anyone younger than you can't be wiser than you because they haven't lived as long as you. Wisdom equals age? Age equals wisdom? The older you are, the wiser you are? Somehow, that should make me happy. I mean, I'm getting older, and so I must be getting wiser. But until I do, what I have to say doesn't count for as much as that man over there that is 2 years older than me. From my experience, wisdom is not earned when you pass go on your birthday, like $200 in Monopoly. It is learned through daily life experiences by listening, looking, feeling, and seeing how it all fits together or falls apart. When I was working for Sun Sounds Radio Reading Service in Phoenix, Arizona, in the late 70s and early 80s, I read, listened, asked questions, and exchanged ideas. And at the ripe old age of 20, I was told upon stating my philosophy about a particular issue. "Richard, you are wise beyond your years." At first I felt like I belonged to the adult crowd. Then I began to wonder what that really meant. Now that I'm 35, have I finally grown into my wisdom from age 20, or am I still wise beyond my years? I never stopped listening, reading, asking questions, exchanging ideas, and experiencing life. At the time, it felt good to belong, and I'm thankful for those words, affirming words. Now, I feel that each person is as wise as they have lived and learned and listened and asked and pondered. Every single person has wisdom to share for us to learn from. Are we wise enough to listen? Am I wise enough to listen? Or will I arrogantly close my mind to new ideas because I have all the answers, the truth, the whole truth, and everyone else is deceived? I hope and pray I always choose the former, not to become wise for wisdom's sake, but to learn, grow, and in time assist others, like you, to become more today than yesterday. So, let's grow together. Each one of us has more power that has for so long gone untapped. I know this to be true from my own observations and experiences of children. Before children receive and believe the limiting messages from the outside, a voice on the inside tells them they can do anything. They have no fear of risking life and limb in the pursuit of their curiosity. They soon will learn that they are not invincible and will choose to make other decisions to get the answers to the questions that led them to the path of discovery. However, their parents will, in addition to caring for their hurts, discourage them from further research and investigation. So the child stops asking questions, not because of the possibility of physical pain, but rather because of the possibility of rejection by others. And that is more painful than a skinned knee. So, now, rather than following the questions about life and self, the child shifts to finding ways to reclaim the acceptance that was lost. And the focus of life is basically lost, if not detoured temporarily, until sometime later in life this person learns that others' opinions are not the stuff of a whole, functional, loving life. In the meantime, most of the life potential is lost, never to be replaced or recovered. With that potential comes ideas, thoughts of inventions to be created, dreams of the future, music to be written and performed, challenges to be overcome, support given to others, and a view of the big picture of life puts that person's life into perspective. It brings the thoughts of man out of the mind and into reality for all to experience. Can we really afford to waste this potential from generation to generation? I, for one, don't believe our civilization can survive without it. We won't want, nor be able, to improve ourselves and our lives as a people without it. That is why I am involved in the work I am doing. I care about myself, my well-being, and that of others. I will assist all I can to transform their lives. I know I'm not there yet, and that it's a lifelong process. It's worth it. All the victories I have achieved in my own personal growth show me that I can, and so can you. The question is, how willing are you to change your life? And now we're back to the same place we started from. Who created me? Why am I here? What's my purpose in this life I've been given? These are some of the fundamental questions that man has been pondering for centuries. I am now taking up the cause of sorts. I feel each one of us will, at one point in our lives. The answers are often found in some of the strangest places we never would have looked in if someone hadn't offered a suggestion. I read a great poem that best guided me to that same place, and I've never been the same since. Let me offer a suggestion for you to consider: the truth. Where shall we hide the truth? Where shall we hide the truth from man? The gods all cried when he was made. How can we guard our secret now? They are each of them so afraid. Hide it in the earth, he will mine it. Hide it on a mountain, he will climb it. Even in the sea, he will find it. Where shall we hide the truth from man? Quite beside themselves they cried, this little guy will take our throne. We have made him far too smart not to claim our heaven home. Hide it in matter, he will analyze it. Where shall we hide the truth from man? They thought of stars in outer space or in the nature of a tree, but they knew that man would solve each and every mystery. Hide it in the wind, he will pursue it. Hide it in an act, he will do it. Even in an atom, he will view it. Where shall we hide the truth from man? Then they solved the mystery of how the frightened gods could win. The wisest said, let's take the truth and hide it deep inside of him. Hide it in his heart, he will doubt it. Hide it in his soul, he'll live without it. Even if we should reveal and shout it, he won't believe the truth is within him. Written and sung by Sebastian Temple. Sebastian Temple wrote this, has possibly expressed it better than anyone ever could. That which we seek the most, the truth can be found. The truth about us, our Creator, our purpose, our pains, fears, joys, triumphs, the past, present, and future. However, there is one small detail. In order to be able to see the truth, we must be willing to accept the whole truth, the good, the bad, and the ugly. The reality is that it isn't always a pleasant sight. The truth contains many things that evoke pain within us. And who wants to face the pain from the past, the pain from childhood trauma, the pain of the double-edged sword of the truth? I know I don't, and yet, the longer I put off dealing with the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, the good, the bad, and the ugly, I'll never be free from the pain, and never be free to live my life free from fear, shame, and guilt. And the longer I put off dealing with the truth, the pain I will eventually face grows with every passing hour. Step 2. Match your words to your choice.